Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Q and this is Q's Beyond Fashion. In this channel, we love fashion and sewing. If you also love fashion and making your own clothes, then this is your home. Please do subscribe and hit on the notifications bell just to make sure that you never miss any of our future videos. In today's lesson, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to draft your own pants pattern block. Let's get down to it.
In order to be able to draft the basic pants pattern, we are going to need the following material: the pattern paper, measuring tape, ruler, tracing wheel, pair of scissors, French curve, pen, and a masking tape.
We are going to use my own measurements. My waist is 35 inches, my hip circumference is 46, my thigh is 27, my knee is 19 inches, my ankle is 12 inches, my waist to hip is 9, my crouch length is 12, and my waist to knee is 22. Lastly, my waist to ankle is 38 inches. We are going to start off our pattern block by rolling out a line at the top of our pattern paper, which is going to mark as our waistline. Next, we're going to roll out a line at the side of our pattern paper from the top right down to the bottom. Firstly, we are going to measure the distance from our waist to our hips. In my case, it's 9. Next, we are going to measure waist to the crotch. 11.75 inches. Mark another point and then join with a straight line. This is our hip line, and then also mark on the side 11.75, then join with a straight line. This is going to be our crotch line. Next, we are going to locate the thigh line. The thigh line is usually 3 inches below the crotch line. We are going to mark it and then join it with a straight line. Join the 2 points with a straight line. Next, we are going to measure the waist to our knee. It is 22 inches. Join with a ruler to make a straight line. This is our knee line. Next, measure from the waist to our ankle. In my case, that is 38 inches. Join the points with a straight line. This is going to be our ankle line. After drawing all the lines, we are then going to label them, starting from the hip line. Next, this is the crouch line. Next, this is the thigh line. This is the knee line. And lastly, we have the ankle line. Next, we are going to divide the hip circumference by 4. 46 divided by 4, the answer is 11.5, and then I add 0.25 inches for ease. This will make it 11.75. Also, mark the 11.75 along the waistline. And then join these 2 points. Make sure you extend the line right down to the crotch line. Next, we're going to divide the waist circumference by 4. It's 35 divided by 4, and the answer is 8.5 inches. And then I add 0.25 inches for ease. The final answer will be 8.75. Next, because we are going to add a dart which is 1 inch in length, we are going to add back the 1 inch along the side of the waist, like that. And this would be the new point of our waist. Next, we're going to use a French curve to join the waistline to the hip line. Next, we're going to measure this distance, and in my case it's 11.75, and then divide it by 4, and the answer will be 2.9. We measure the 2.9 along the crotch line, and then we're also going to measure 0.5 inches along the hip line and make a point. So we're going to join these 3 points to make the crotch curve using a French curve like so. This is the crotch curve. Next, we will measure the distance from here up to the last point along our crotch line. In my case, it is 14.75. Then divide that by 2, and the answer is 7.4. Measure the same distance here, 7.4, and also along the waistline. Along the knee line, and also along the ankle line. Next, use a long ruler to join all these 3 points, like so. This will form a crease line for the pants. We are going to use this line to draft the dart along the waistline. The dart, we said, is 1 inch in length. Next, the length of the dart is 4 inches. Then we use a ruler to join the dart legs in order to complete the dart, like so. Next, we are going to divide the thigh circumference by 2, and in my case it's 27 divided by 2, and the answer is 13.5. Now we're going to find the half of 13.5, like so, and then mark it on the tape. Then mark each half along either side of the center line, like so. Next, we are going to divide the circumference of the knee by 2. In my case, it's 19 divided by 2, and then the answer is 9.5. Then we divide the tape measure by 2, and then mark each half on either side of the center line, like so. Next, we divide the ankle circumference by 2. And in my case, the ankle circumference is 12, and then by 2, the answer is 6. Then I divide the tape by 2, and then mark the half on either side of the ankle line. The next thing to do is to join all the points in order to complete my basic pant block by first joining from the ankle line to the knee line, like so. Next, we're going to join the points from the knee to the crotch line, like so. And next, from the knee to the crotch line, like so. Next, we're going to make sure that there are no sharp corners by using our French curve to make the lines smooth. We are going to cut off this basic pattern and then redraft it on a fresh piece of pattern paper. After cutting off the front pattern, please remember to label it as the front. We are going to use the front pattern in order to draft the back pattern. Therefore, we're going to put the front on top of a fresh piece of pattern paper, and then make sure to leave some space on the side of the pattern like that, and then tape down the pattern just to make sure that it doesn't move. Using a ruler, start at the top along the waistline and mark a line like that. Also mark over the hip line like that, over the crotch line like this, mark over the thigh line, mark over the knee line like so, and also mark along the ankle line like so. Next, join the ankle line to the knee line like so. Then use a French curve to join all the curved lines. Make sure you align the French curve along the pattern paper like so. Next, mark along the center line like so. Also remember to pierce the pattern paper using a pair of scissors in order to mark the dot location. Mark all the points of the dot like so. Next, you can remove the front pattern paper like so. Next, join all the lines along the pattern like so. Also use a long ruler to join the center line like this. Next, we have to label all the lines. This is the hip line, the crotch line, the thigh line, the knee line, and the ankle line. Next, add 1 inch along the hip line, along the crotch line, thigh line, knee line, and also along the ankle line. And also on the inner leg, do the same thing, adding 1 inch on the ankle line, on the knee line, on the thigh line. Now we're going to start constructing the top part of our back pattern. We're going to start off by extending the crotch line like so. Next, we are going to add 2 inches along the crotch line like so. Make a mark. And then drop the crotch line at the back by ½ inch. This will be the new point of our back crotch line. Next, we are also going to find the center between these 2 points, and the center is 2.25 inches. Next, we are going to get our front pattern and then measure this distance. In my case, it is 2.9 inches. Now take the 2.9 inches and mark it at the top from the point that you made earlier, and in my case, the 2.9 will be right here. Now, can you notice that I almost ran out of paper? In case this happens to you, if maybe you left a small piece of paper at the top, you can get a small piece of paper and join it at the top. Tape down the piece of paper at the top using maybe a masking tape like so, and thereafter you can continue drafting your pattern at the top like that. After marking this point, then we are going to use this point to join it down to this point in order to form the back crotch. Use your French curve like this. Next, you must measure this distance, which in my case, it was 9.75. Then measure the waist distance and then mark it from the top point, slanting your tape measure right down to the waistline like so. Make a point and then use a ruler to join these 2 points like so. Next, you have to join all the points along the sides in order to complete the side of your back pattern. Do the same on the inner leg. Also join the back like so. Sorry, this was wrong. Please ignore it. You must join it up to this point, not this one. The back pattern is almost complete, except for that we have to mark the position of the dart. We have to divide this distance by 2, like so. Mark a point, and then we have to also mark the same distance at the bottom like this. Then get a ruler, join these 2 points like so, and then also measure the distance of the dart will be 4 inches again. Then remember the length of the dart is 1 inch. And then use a ruler to join all the points and complete the dart. Now this is the complete back pattern, and you can label it as the back. The next thing that you have to do is to cut all around the pattern. Next, copy the back and the front patterns and then add a seam allowance . The seam allowance along the ankle line is usually 2 inches. And to add the seam allowance, we have to fold the pattern paper along the ankle line like so. Then measure the 2 inches like so. And then add the 2 inches following the line along the bottom like so. And also do likewise on the other side. Measure the 2 inches and then draw it along the line that is at the bottom. This will be best if you are using a tracing paper. And then turn around and draw the lines. Make sure they are visible on the other side like so. And then join them at the bottom. Now this is the back pattern with seam allowance of 0.5 around the pattern and 2 inches at the ankle line. Remember to mark the notches along the knee line, along the thigh line, and also along the hip line. Right. Now the back pattern is complete. What is left is to cut it off using a pair of scissors. Next, we trace the front pattern on a fresh piece of pattern paper. To make the seam allowance, start by folding the pattern paper along the ankle line like so. Then mark the 2 inches at the bottom like so. Draw the lines at the bottom. And then turn around the pattern paper and use a ruler to make the lines more visible at the top so. And then complete the seam allowance like that. Next, you make the 0.5 seam allowance along the rest of the pattern. Now complete those notches. And then label the back. Use a pair of scissors to cut out the pattern. Sorry, I labeled the pattern wrong as the back, yet it is the front. This is the front pattern with seam allowance, and this is the back pattern with seam allowance. This marks the end of our pattern drafting. Thank you all for watching the video. Please tell us what you think. Now that you are able to draft your own pants pattern, will you be able to sew it together? Let us know what you think in the comments section, and tell us what you would love to see in our future videos. And please, if you are new to the family, do subscribe and also click on the notifications bell. Also do like and share the video with your friends and family, and we are all going to see you next time. God bless you all. Goodbye.